Okay, let's jump right in. We're all hearing about the latest AI tools, every single day, right? But this explainer, we're going to go a little deeper. We're moving beyond just using AI to building real systemic resilience for your career, because the future, well, it's getting here a whole lot faster than any of us expected.
So here's our roadmap. We've got 5 key shifts to build a strategy that's actually future-proof. First, we'll tackle what I'm calling the flawed career math to really get a handle on the risks. Then we'll talk about going from a simple tool user to an agent architect. After that, we'll cover the human authority defense, pivot to the high-value skills you absolutely need, and then wrap it all up with a concrete 90-day action plan you can literally start today.
All right, first up, the flawed career math. This is all about tearing down that comforting but honestly pretty dangerous conventional wisdom we hear about AI and jobs.
We've all heard this line a million times. It sounds great, right? It's reassuring. And look, on a huge macro level, it's probably true. It's based on something called an ensemble average, the total outcome across an entire economy. But here's the thing, banking your personal career on that average, that's a huge, huge mistake.
And this is the question that really matters. Because for you, for me, our career isn't an average of a million different possibilities. It's one single continuous path. It's what experts call a non-ergodic system. And this is where the math gets really personal and, frankly, a little bit scary.
So let's just break this down. In a non-ergodic path, a single really bad event can take you out of the game completely. You don't get to benefit from the average success of everybody else. Your career is a single timeline. If something breaks it, the fact that other people's careers are thriving doesn't really help you.
So here's the bottom line. That small annual risk, it compounds. A 10% chance that your role gets automated in any given year might not sound like a 5-alarm fire, but you stretch that out over 10 years, and the probability that you're going to face that disruptive event, what you could call career ruin, it becomes almost a guarantee. The average just doesn't matter when you're facing that.
So what do we do about it? Our response has to be just as strategic. We need to adopt what's called a barbell strategy. Think about it like this. 80% of your effort goes on defense. You get aggressive about learning how to automate all the routine, the verifiable, let's be honest, the boring parts of your job. Then, the other 20%, that's pure offense. You invest everything in those uniquely human, low-entropy skills that AI just can't touch. We're talking high-context judgment, creative taste, and really complex negotiation.
And that brings us perfectly to our second big shift, moving from being a tool user to becoming an agent architect. This is all about stopping the frantic collection of shiny new apps and actually starting to build your own systems.
We're seeing this new kind of digital clutter, the 80 AI tools trap, and it's this habit of just collecting countless tools for one-off tasks. It feels productive, but it's actually a massive productivity killer. You're just constantly switching context instead of building any real, lasting leverage.
So here's the difference in mindset, side by side. A tool user asks a chatbot a one-off question. An architect, on the other hand, builds a repeatable, multi-step workflow. A tool user collects apps. An architect creates a private digital workforce. See the shift? It's moving from just doing tasks to designing autonomous systems that do the work for you.
So what is one of these agentic pipelines anyway? Well, it's a system you design that can execute a whole project pretty much on its own. So for a content creator, imagine an agent that researches trends, then drafts a script, and then even generates all the SEO metadata. It does all of that and leaves you to provide that final, crucial, human creative sign-off. And the best part is you can build these things right now with visual tools like N8N or Zapier, no code required.
This brings us to our third pillar, the human authority defense. Because in a world that's about to be flooded with AI-generated content, your personal brand, the one that's built on trust, that becomes your lifeboat.
Make no mistake, we are facing a fundamental crisis of trust. You can feel it, right? The 2025 Edelman Trust Barometer highlights this perfectly. As all this synthetic content floods our feeds, people are getting more and more skeptical of institutional information. There's this deep, deep hunger for genuine, verifiable human authority.
And this is the key insight. Your audience is smart. They've consumed so much content, their authenticity detectors are just incredibly well-tuned. So in a world where AI can mimic almost anything, that genuine, earned authority is the only currency that really has any lasting value.
I love this way of thinking about it. An AI can spit out endless data, endless text, but it cannot manufacture a war story. Your real authority comes from your lived experience, the challenges you've actually overcome, the mistakes you've actually made, and the unique wisdom you've gained from it all. That is your intellectual property. Nobody can copy that.
So how do you actually build this? Well, first, share the grit. Don't just show the polished final product, show the messy process behind it. Second, show your lived experience. Transparency is your single greatest asset. And third, create what you might call intellectual anchors, these unique frameworks and personal stories that make you stand out from all the generic AI smog out there.
Okay, section 4. Let's get really practical and talk about the actual skills you need to be pivoting towards, like right now.
The ground is shifting under our feet, and it is happening so fast. Get ready for this number. The World Economic Forum says that a staggering 39% of core job skills today will be outdated by 2030. Think about that. As AI automates more and more routine work, the things we used to call soft skills are about to become the hardest, most durable, most valuable skills you can have.
So here's what that pivot looks like in practice. On one side, we have to start actively moving away from skills with high automation risk. Things like routine analysis, creating generic blog posts, or writing boilerplate code. The real value, the real future, is shifting to the other side. Higher order cognition, like systems thinking, creative direction, and finding those killer narrative hooks, and, this one's so important, AI orchestration, the architectural skill of designing how multiple AIs work together to get something done.
All right, we've covered the strategy, the what, and the why. Now let's bring it all home with the how. Here's a 90-day action plan to turn all these insights into reality.
Here are 3 concrete steps you can take. First, do a task audit. Seriously, map out your entire work week. Sort every single task into one of 2 buckets, routine or judgment-based. The routine stuff you automate. The judgment-based stuff you double down on. Second, build what I call your cognitive bridge. Use a tool like Notebook LM to create a private research library of your own expertise. This becomes the brain for your personal AI agents, making sure they sound and work like you. And third, establish your personal IP. Start sharing your specific methods online. Own your unique process before some big corporation tries to automate it for you.
And as you start taking these steps, something really fundamental begins to shift. It's about your identity and your entire relationship with this technology. You're not just a user anymore. You become an AI builder. And that isn't just a simple productivity upgrade, it's a deep, fundamental competitive advantage for the entire future of your work.
So, that's the new strategy for career resilience. The tools are here. The path is becoming clear. The only real question left for you is, what will you build?